Let me tell you something. Half of you don't even know what you're worth. You've been letting people give you clearance rack treatment when you're premium quality. You've been accepting pennies when you deserve dollars. And the worst part is, you've been doing it for so long, you think that's all you deserve. Wake up. You know what happens when you undervalue yourself. You take jobs that pay you less than what you're worth. You stay in relationships where you're not appreciated. You settle for friendships where you give everything and get nothing back. You walk around with your head down, your shoulders slumped, apologizing for taking up space in rooms you have every right to be in. This is not how you were meant to live. I see people every single day who are incredibly talented, incredibly gifted, and incredibly capable, yet they're living as if they're none of those things. They're living like they're lucky to be where they are. They're living like they should be grateful that somebody, anybody, is giving them the time of day. That's not gratitude. That's self-abandonment. That's you betraying yourself every single day. You want to know why people treat you the way they do. It's because you taught them how to treat you. You showed them what you would accept. You showed them what you would tolerate. You showed them how little you valued yourself, and they believed you. They took you at your word. And now you're mad at them, but this started with you. Starting today, you're going to look in the mirror and recognize what's looking back at you. Not who you used to be, not who you wish you were, but who you actually are right now with all your potential, all your gifts, all your possibilities. You're going to stop comparing yourself to everyone else and start competing with who you were yesterday. You're going to stop giving people discounts on your time, energy, presence, and peace. This is not about being arrogant. This is not about thinking you're better than anyone else. This is about recognizing that you have value, you have worth, and you have something to offer this world that nobody else can offer the exact same way. When you start valuing yourself, everything changes. The way you walk changes. The way you talk changes. The way you make decisions changes. Your whole life shifts. You want to know why your life looks the way it does. Look at what you've been willing to tolerate. Look at what you've been willing to accept. Look at who you've been willing to become. If you don't like what you see, then it's time to raise your standards. You cannot have $1 million dream with minimum wage standards. It doesn't work that way. Your life is a mirror of your standards. Show me someone who has high standards for themselves, and I'll show you someone who's winning in life. Show me someone with low standards, and I'll show you someone who's constantly struggling, constantly stressed, constantly wondering why nothing ever works out for them. Your standards determine everything. They determine who you date, who you marry, who you do business with, what jobs you take, and what opportunities you pursue. But here's what most people don't understand. Your standards aren't just about what you say. They're about what you do. You can say you have high standards all day long, but if you keep accepting less than what you deserve, your actions are revealing your real standards. If you keep going back to people who disrespect you, that's your standard. If you keep staying in situations that drain you, that's your standard. If you keep settling for good enough when you're capable of greatness, that's your standard. I need you to be honest with yourself right now. What have you been accepting in your life that you know deep down you shouldn't accept? What relationships are you in that you know aren't serving you? What job are you working that you know is beneath your capabilities? What habits do you have that you know are keeping you stuck? Your standards have allowed all of that to continue. You've got to draw a line in the sand. You've got to say, this is what I will accept, and this is what I won't accept anymore. This is who I will be, and this is who I refuse to be anymore. This is how I will allow people to treat me, and this is what I will no longer tolerate. When you raise your standards, some people are going to fall out of your life. Let them go. Some opportunities are going to pass you by. Let them pass, because when you raise your standards, you make room for what you actually deserve. Raising your standards is uncomfortable. It means having difficult conversations. It means walking away from familiar situations. It means saying no to things you used to say yes to. It means disappointing people who were comfortable with the old you. But I promise you this, the temporary discomfort of raising your standards is nothing compared to the permanent pain of living below them. Choose the discomfort that leads to growth over the comfort that leads to regret. You know what's crazy? You'll wait for everyone else to validate your dreams before you pursue them. You'll wait for someone to tell you you're good enough before you try. You'll wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, the perfect circumstances. Meanwhile, life is passing you by. Years are going by. Opportunities are disappearing, and you're still waiting for permission that's never coming. Here's what you need to understand. The people whose permission you're waiting for, they're not coming. And even if they did give you permission, it wouldn't mean anything because external permission without internal conviction is worthless. You can have everyone in the world telling you to go for it, but if you don't believe it yourself, you won't move. The permission has to come from within. Some of you are waiting for your parents to approve of your dreams. Some of you are waiting for your spouse to get on board with your vision. Some of you are waiting for your friends to understand where you're going. Stop waiting. You don't need their permission. You need your commitment. You need your dedication. You need your willingness to bet on yourself even when nobody else will. Think about every successful person you admire. Not a single one of them waited for permission. They saw what they wanted, they believed they could achieve it, and they went after it. They didn't wait for approval. They didn't wait for validation. They didn't wait for someone to tell them it was okay to be great. They gave themselves permission and they moved. What would you do if you stopped waiting for permission? What would you pursue? What would you start? What would you create? What would you build? Who would you become? The answer to those questions is who you're meant to be. So permit yourself right now. Permit yourself to dream bigger. Permit yourself to want more. Permit yourself to become everything you're capable of becoming. The only permission you need is your own. Some of you are still living in your past. You're still replaying conversations from 3 years ago. You're still mad about things that happened in high school. You're still heartbroken over a relationship that ended ages ago. You're still bitter about an opportunity you missed. You're still angry about how someone treated you. And because you're living in your past, you're missing your present and destroying your future. Your past does not define you. It informs you, but it doesn't define you. Yes, things happen. Yes, you went through stuff. Yes, people hurt you. Yes, you made mistakes. Yes, you failed. Yes, you lost. But none of that determines where you're going unless you let it. You've been using your past as an excuse for why you can't move forward. It's time to use your past as fuel for why you must move forward. Every single day you wake up is a new opportunity to write a different story. You're not the same person you were last year. You're not even the same person you were last month. You're growing, you're learning, you're evolving, but you can't grow into your future while you're handcuffed to your past. You've got to decide to let it go. Forgive the people who hurt you, not for them, but for you. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you made. Release the guilt. Release the shame. Release the regret. I know it's hard. I know some of that pain runs deep. I know some of those wounds are still tender. But holding on to that pain is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's only hurting you. The person who hurt you has moved on. They're living their life. Meanwhile, you're stuck in a moment that doesn't exist anymore except in your mind. You've got to release it. Your future is too bright to be dimmed by your past. Your potential is too great to be limited by what happened back then. You've survived everything that's happened to you so far. You're still here. You're still breathing. You're still capable. Now it's time to take all that you've learned, all that you've overcome, all that you've survived, and use it as a foundation to build something beautiful. Your past is a chapter, not the whole book. Turn the page. You're comfortable, right? You got your little routine, your little safe space. your little predictable life. Let me tell you what comfort is. It's the enemy of greatness. Everything you want is on the other side of fear, on the other side of uncomfortable, on the other side of that thing you're too scared to do. Your comfort zone is that place where you feel safe, where nothing challenges you, where you can operate on autopilot. It's familiar, it's predictable, it's easy, and it's killing your dreams. Every single day you stay in your comfort zone is a day your potential dies a little more. Your comfort zone is not protecting you. It's imprisoning you. Think about everything you want in life. That business you want to start, that career change you want to make, that relationship you want to pursue, that skill you want to develop, that dream you want to chase. None of it is in your comfort zone. All of it requires you to step into uncertainty, risk, fear, and discomfort. And that's exactly why most people never get it. They choose comfort over growth. But here's what comfort really costs you. It costs you your dreams. It costs you your potential. It costs you the life you could have had. You get to be 60, 70 years old, looking back on your life full of regret, wondering what if I had tried? What if I had taken that risk? What if I had stepped out of my comfort zone? Don't let that be you. Growth happens in discomfort. Success lives in uncertainty. Greatness requires risk. You cannot play it safe and expect to win big. You cannot stay where you are and expect to get where you want to go. Something has to change, and that something is your willingness to get uncomfortable. You've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to look foolish. You've got to be willing to not have all the answers. Starting today, do something that scares you. Have that difficult conversation. Take that first step toward your dream. Apply for that position. Start that project. Make that investment. Do something that pushes you beyond what's comfortable. Because on the other side of that discomfort is a version of you that you've never met before. A stronger you, a braver you, a more capable you. But you'll never meet that person if you stay comfortable. Let me be real with you. When you start growing, when you start changing, when you start elevating, some people aren't going to come with you. And that's okay. Everyone in your life has an expiration date. Some people are meant to be in your life for a season, not a lifetime. Their job was to teach you something, to help you through something, to show you something about yourself. But when that season is over, you've got to have the courage to let them go. This doesn't mean you have to be mean or cruel. It just means you create space between you and people who aren't aligned with where you're going. You limit your time with them. You stop sharing your dreams with them. You stop asking their opinion about your future. And you intentionally start connecting with people who inspire you, who challenge you, who are where you want to be. Your network determines your net worth. Choose wisely. Everybody's going to fall. Everybody's going to mess up. Everybody's going to have setbacks. But successful people get back up. They dust themselves off, learn the lesson, and keep moving. You've let one failure, one rejection, one disappointment keep you stuck for years. Get up. You know what separates successful people from unsuccessful people? It's not talent. It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not even an opportunity. It's how they respond to failure. Unsuccessful people let failure define them. They try something once, it doesn't work, and they quit. They say, see, I knew I couldn't do it. I knew I wasn't good enough. I knew it wouldn't work out. And they use that one failure as evidence for why they should never try again. Successful people see failure completely differently. They see it as feedback. They see it as information. They see it as a necessary part of the process. When they fail, they ask, what can I learn from this? What do I need to do differently? How can I improve? And then they try again. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Think about how many times you've already failed in your life and survived. You failed tests in school. You failed at relationships. You failed at jobs. You failed at the goals you set. And yet here you are, still alive, still capable, still able to try again. That failure you're so afraid of, you've already experienced it multiple times and it didn't destroy you. So why are you letting the fear of it stop you now? The biggest risk is not taking any risk at all. When you don't try because you're afraid to fail, you've already failed. You failed by default. At least if you try and fail, you gain experience, you gain knowledge, you gain growth. But if you never try, you gain nothing but regret. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you've even tried. The difference is that they didn't let failure stop them. You've got to change your relationship with failure. Stop seeing it as this terrible thing that must be avoided at all costs. Start seeing it as a teacher, as a coach, as a guide. Failure is showing you what doesn't work so you can figure out what does. Failure is strengthening you so you can handle the success that's coming. Failure is redirecting you toward a better path. Get up, learn the lesson, and keep moving forward. Stop saying, I can't. Stop saying, I'm not good enough. Stop saying it's too hard. Every time you speak those words, you're building a prison around yourself. Start declaring what you will be, what you will accomplish, and what you will overcome. Your words have power. Use them wisely. You don't realize how much power is in your tongue. You're speaking defeat over your life every single day and wondering why you can't win. You're speaking lack over your life and wondering why you're always broke. You're speaking fear over your life and wondering why you're always anxious. Your words are creating your reality. What you consistently say, you eventually become. Listen to how you talk about yourself. Listen to how you describe your situation. Listen to how you discuss your future. If it's negative, if it's defeated, if it's hopeless, that's what you're creating. You're programming your mind to believe those things. And when your mind believes something, it finds ways to make it true. You say, I'll never be successful, and your mind starts looking for evidence to confirm that belief. You sabotage yourself without even realizing it. But when you change your words, you change your trajectory. When you start saying, I am capable, your mind starts looking for evidence of your capability. When you start saying, I am worthy, your mind starts aligning with that truth. When you start saying, I will overcome this, your mind starts finding solutions. Your words direct your focus, and your focus determines your reality. This is not just positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. You're not denying your current circumstances. You're declaring what you're going to create despite your current circumstances. There's a difference between where you are and where you're going. Your words should reflect where you're going, not where you are. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a creator of your future. Starting today, pay attention to every word that comes out of your mouth. Catch yourself when you start to speak negatively. Stop mid-sentence and reframe it. Instead of I can't do this, say I'm learning how to do this. Instead of this always happening to me, say I'm breaking this pattern. Instead of I'll never have enough, say I'm creating abundance in my life. Your words are seeds, plant good ones. God didn't make duplicates. He made originals. But you're over here trying to be like somebody else, trying to live somebody else's dream, trying to fit into somebody else's vision. That's not your assignment. Figure out what your gift is and develop it. You were created with a unique combination of talents, experiences, perspectives, and abilities that nobody else on this planet has. Not in the same combination, not in the same way. You are literally one of one, but instead of celebrating that, instead of developing that, you're over here trying to be a second-rate version of someone else. Stop it. You see someone successful, and you try to copy exactly what they did. You see someone with influence, and you try to mimic their style. You see someone living their dream, and you try to duplicate their path. But what worked for them might not work for you because you're not them. You have a different gift. You have a different calling. You have a different assignment. When you try to be someone else, you rob the world of who you were meant to be. Your uniqueness is your advantage. It's not something to hide or diminish. It's something to amplify. The things that make you different are the things that will make you successful. Your specific background, your specific struggle, your specific perspective, that's what qualifies you to reach people nobody else can reach. That's what positions you to create something nobody else can create. But you've got to stop looking at everyone else and start looking within yourself. What do you naturally do well? What do people consistently compliment you on? What activities make you lose track of time? What problems do you love solving? What injustices make you angry enough to take action? The answers to these questions point toward your gift, your purpose, your assignment. Once you identify your gift, develop it, invest in it, study it, practice it, get better at it. Don't just rely on natural talent. Combine your natural talent with intentional development, and you become unstoppable. The world doesn't need another copy. The world needs the original you, fully developed, fully expressed, fully operating in your gift. Be that. You want success. You want to change. Then something's got to go. You can't keep doing the same things and expect different results. That means some of those late nights hanging out have to go. That means some of those habits have to go. That means some of those time wasting activities have to go. Success requires sacrifice. Every level of success requires a different version of you. To get to the next level, you've got to let go of some things that are keeping you at this level. But most people aren't willing to make that sacrifice. They want success without the sacrifice. They want the reward without the discipline. They want the destination without the journey. It doesn't work that way. Success has a price, and that price is paid in advance. You've got to sacrifice before you see the results. You've got to put in the work before you get the reward. You've got to invest before you see the return. Most people aren't willing to do that. They want instant gratification. They want immediate results. So they never achieve anything significant because they're not willing to delay gratification. Look at your daily routine. What are you spending your time on? How many hours are you spending on social media scrolling through other people's lives? How many hours are you spending watching television? How many hours are you spending hanging out doing nothing productive? Now imagine if you took just 2 of those hours every single day and invested them in your dream. In a year, that's over 700 hours toward your goal. That's the sacrifice. You've got to be willing to give up good for great. Some of the things you need to sacrifice aren't even bad things. They're just not the best things for where you're trying to go. That friend group might be fun, but if they're not supportive of your goals, you need to sacrifice some of that time. That hobby might be enjoyable, but if it's consuming time you need for your purpose, you need to sacrifice it. That comfort might feel nice, but if it's keeping you from growth, you need to sacrifice it. The sacrifice is temporary, but the regret is permanent. You can sacrifice now and celebrate later, or you can indulge now and regret later. The choice is yours. But understand this, successful people make sacrifices that unsuccessful people aren't willing to make. That's why they get results that unsuccessful people never get. What are you willing to sacrifice today for the life you want tomorrow? I'm tired of hearing excuses. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have the right connections. You know what all of that is? Excuses. Successful people find a way. Unsuccessful people find an excuse. Which one are you going to be? An excuse is just a well-planned lie you tell yourself to justify why you're not doing what you know you should be doing. You've got an excuse for everything. An excuse for why you haven't started. An excuse for why you quit. An excuse for why you're still in the same place you were last year. And as long as you have an excuse, you have a way out of taking responsibility for your life. Here's the truth about excuses. They might make you feel better temporarily, but they keep you stuck permanently. Every excuse you make is another day you're not moving forward. Every excuse you make is another opportunity you're missing. Every excuse you make is another step away from your dreams. Your excuses are costing you your future. The people who succeed aren't the people with the most advantages. They're the people who refuse to use their disadvantages as excuses. They're the people who find a way despite the obstacles. They're the people who start with what they have instead of waiting for what they don't have. You don't need perfect conditions. You need commitment. You don't need everything figured out. You need to take the first step. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for more money. Stop waiting for more knowledge. Stop waiting for more support. Start with what you have right now. You have more than enough to start. You might not have enough to finish, but you have enough to start. And when you start, you create momentum. When you create momentum, you attract resources. When you attract resources, you build capacity. But none of that happens while you're making excuses. Today is the day you stop explaining why you can't and start showing why you can. Today is the day you stop talking about what you're going to do and start doing it. Today is the day you trade your excuses for action. The only thing standing between you and your goals is the story you keep telling yourself about why you can't achieve them. Change the story. Where you are right now is just a chapter, not the whole book. Just because you're struggling now doesn't mean you'll be struggling forever. Just because you're starting from the bottom doesn't mean you're staying there. This is your setup for your comeback. Some of you are looking at your current situation and you're discouraged. You're broke. You're stuck. You're frustrated. You're tired. And you've started to believe that this is just how your life is going to be. You've accepted your current situation as your permanent situation. That's a lie. Where you are is not where you're staying. Your current situation is temporary. It's a season. It's a chapter. It's a moment in time. But it's not your entire story. You're in the middle of the story, and the middle is always messy. The middle is where the struggle happens. The middle is where the character is developed. The middle is where it looks like it's not going to work out. But keep reading. The end of your story hasn't been written yet. What you're going through right now is preparing you for where you're going. The struggle you're in is developing the strength you're going to need. The test you're facing is teaching you lessons you're going to use. The delay you're experiencing is protecting you from something or preparing you for something. You can't see it now, but one day you're going to look back and understand why you had to go through what you went through. Don't judge your entire future based on your current circumstances. Your current circumstances are based on past decisions and past actions, but you're making new decisions now. You're taking new actions now. You're becoming a new person now. And that's going to create new circumstances in your future. What you're doing today in private is going to be rewarded publicly later. Keep going. Keep pushing. Keep believing. Keep working. Your current situation is the soil from which your success is going to grow. The darker the soil, the richer the harvest. You're not stuck here. You're planted here. And you're about to grow into something beautiful. This is not your final destination. This is your launching pad. You've been standing on the edge forever, talking about what if it doesn't work out? Well, what if it does? What if you're one decision away from everything changing? At some point, you've got to jump. You've got to bet on yourself. You've got to take that risk. Faith without action is dead. Fear is going to be there. Doubt is going to be there. Uncertainty is going to be there. But you have to jump anyway. You've been waiting for the fear to go away before you take action, but the fear doesn't go away. You take action in spite of the fear. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. You want guarantees. You want to know for sure that it's going to work out before you commit. But life doesn't give you guarantees. Faith is taking the first step even when you can't see the whole staircase. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need to take the next step, and then the next one, and then the next one. The path reveals itself as you walk it. Every successful person leaped at some point. They left a secure job. They invested their savings. They moved to a new city. They started the business. They pursued the dream, and they had no guarantee it would work, but they jumped anyway. And yes, some of them failed at first, but they learned, they adjusted, and they jumped again. And eventually, it worked out. You've been playing it safe for too long. You've been choosing security over possibility. You've been choosing the known over the potential. And it's keeping you stuck in a life that's smaller than what you're capable of. The leap is scary, But staying where you are is scarier. Regret is scarier. Wondering what if for the rest of your life is scarier. What's the worst that could happen if you leap? Really think about it. You might fail. You might lose money. You might look foolish. Okay. And then what you'll learn? You'll grow. You'll try again. None of those things will kill you. But you know what will kill you slowly? Never trying, playing it safe for your entire life. Getting to the end and realizing you never really lived. Take the leap. Stop disqualifying yourself. I'm too old to go back to school. I'm too young for people to take me seriously. It's too late for me. Says who? As long as you have breath in your body, you have purpose.